Welcome to episode 66 of OTD, your daily dose of soccer history by 17 Laws Guy. It's January 5, 1889. We are Deepdale in Preston, and today is a date that matters far beyond England, because on this day, Preston North End effectively secured the first ever title in the Football League, the world's first fully organized, home and away, round-robin National League competition. It sounds obvious now. A league table, predictable fixtures, Saturday routines, a title race. But in 1889, none of that is inevitable. English football is still inventing itself in real time, and the Football League is the moment it stops being mostly a cup sport with friendlies and becomes a weekly system. So today we'll do three things. We'll briefly tell the story of how the Football League is created, who drove it, and why it was needed. We'll look at who got in, who didn't, and how the excluded clubs immediately built rival league structures of their own. And then we'll walk through the 1888-89 season to this clinching day, and to Preston's Invincibles identity, the first double, and the template the world copies. The Football League begins with a very practical problem: money uncertainty. By the late 1880s, professional football in England's North and Midlands is real. Crowds are real, gate receipts are real, and clubs increasingly depend on match-day income to survive. But the schedule is unstable. You have the FA Cup, county cups, and endless friendlies that get cancelled whenever a cup tie pops up, when two clubs can't agree on terms, or when the weather makes travel a mess. For clubs paying players and renting grounds, maybe we'll play, maybe we won't. It's just not a business model. Enter William McGregor, an Aston Villa director and the man most directly associated with turning this mess into a system. The idea is simple. A fixed list of clubs agree to play each other home and away every season. No pleading for friendlies, no improvisation. Football becomes a calendar. And the clubs selected tell you everything about the football economy at the time. The original league is a Northern and Midlands project, 12 clubs, concentrated where professionalism, crowds, rail links, and industrial Saturday culture make regular football viable. London, by contrast, is not the center of the professional game yet. The Southern game is still more amateur in character, and the power base that would later dominate English football simply isn't the football center of gravity in 1888. The 12 clubs are Accrington, Aston Villa, Blackburn Rovers, Bolton Wanderers, Burnley, Derby County, Everton, Notts County, Preston North End, Stoke, West Bromwich Albion, and Wolverhampton Wanderers. And crucially, plenty of ambitious clubs don't make the cut. Sunderland is a notable name, which we'll come back to in an episode of OTD next week. Some are excluded, like Newton Heath, the club we today know as Manchester United. Some are judged less attractive commercially. Some are simply outside the network, and the response is immediate. Excluded clubs try to build their own organized competition, first through a chaotic experiment called the Combination, and then in 1888 through a more serious rivalry called the Football Alliance. That alliance matters because it becomes, in effect, the pressure system that forces expansion and formalization. It features clubs, in addition to Newton Heath, the likes of Nottingham Forest and the Wednesday, plus others such as Small Heath, which we now call Birmingham City, and Crewe Alexandra. And in 1882, the alliance effectively concedes and merges into the Football League structure as the new second division. Now to the season itself, 1888-89. The Football League kicks off in September 1888, and here's a detail that tells you how new this all is. When it starts, even the rules of the league table aren't fully settled yet. Originally, the table would be ordered by wins alone, and the 2 points for a win, 1 for a draw logic gets adopted only after the season is underway. That's a story for another day. Everyone is improvising, including something else that now feels unthinkable. There isn't even a trophy waiting at the end. When Preston secure the title, there's no gleaming club cup to lift, because the concept of league champions is still so new that the ritual hasn't caught up. And Preston are the perfect first champions, because they embody what the league is becoming: a serious, well-run football operation. They're led by Major William Suttle, one of the era's defining football organizers, and Preston are already famous for doing modern things early: deliberate recruitment, serious preparation, strong Scottish influence, and a team built not for occasional cup drama, but for week-to-week dominance. They don't just win, they normalize the idea that a club can be great across a season, not just in a one-off knockout. Preston starts the season at home at Deepdale with a 5-2 win against Burnley. The following week, they win 4-0 at Molineux against Wolverhampton, and on it goes. They win their 6 first matches, then a goalless draw away against Accrington, followed by 2 victories, including a 7-0 away win at Notts County, a 1-1 home draw against Aston Villa, 4 victories, a 2-2 draw in the reverse fixture at Turf Moor against Burnley, then 3 more victories. And now we arrive at today, January 5, 1889. In the 18 matches I just quickly went through, Preston North End has achieved 15 wins and 3 draws. They were sitting top of the table with 33 points from 18 matches. Second in the table was Aston Villa, with 24 points from 16 matches. With a total of 22 matches in the season, Aston Villa could thus maximum achieve 36 points, provided they win all remaining 6. On this day in 1889, while Preston play Notts County at Deepdale and win 4-1, Aston Villa plays Burnley at Turf Moor and lose 4-0. And with those 2 results, Preston's league becomes beyond practical reach weeks before the fixture list is complete. Which tells you something about how dominant they were. The first league title race is basically over in early January. The title run-in hasn't been invented yet as an expectation because Preston doesn't allow one. And they finish the job the way mythology demands. Preston complete the league season unbeaten, defeating Aston Villa 2-0 in the last round of the season. Preston, the original Invincibles. To add a cherry on top, a few weeks later, at the end of March, they then add the FA Cup after winning 3-0 against Wolverhampton at Kennington Oval, completing the first ever league and cup double in the very first league season. Invincibles indeed. So what does January 5, 1889 actually represent? 3 takeaways, as always. First, the Football League is a scheduling revolution masquerading as sport. It turns football from events you attend into a season you live inside. Predictable fixtures create predictable habits. That is how Saturday football becomes a cultural routine, not just a match, but a weekly structure around which communities organize time. Second, selection creates ecosystem and exclusion creates competitors. The 12-club league is not merely a sporting decision, it's a power decision. And the immediate rise of the alliance shows that football's institutional map gets drawn by who's invited into stability and who's forced to build their own stability elsewhere. And third, Preston's 1888-89 season becomes a prototype the world copies. A full national round-robin league produces a different kind of greatness, consistency, depth, resilience, and identity across months, not minutes. This is the format that spreads, mutates, and becomes the default language of football worldwide. On this day in 1889, Preston North End don't just win a title. They prove that football can be organized like a modern season, and once that proof exists, the sport never goes back. That's all for episode 66 of OTD, the day Preston clinched the first Football League title, and the moment football learned to live on a schedule. If your club has an early founding mess season, a first league title, a breakaway, a merger, a reinvention, email me at otd@17lawsquare.com. And please rate this show 5 stars, subscribe, and please tell a friend. Tomorrow, in episode 67, we go to January 6, 1934, and the passing of Herbert Chapman, and why his legacy still runs through the modern game. See you then.